A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today, so cheers. Today I am reviewing the third book in Richard Awlinson's Avatar Trilogy. This was a very important trilogy of Dungeons and Dragons novels set in the Forgotten Realms, and they basically marked the transition between first edition Dungeons and Dragons to second edition Dungeons and Dragons, which was the version that I primarily played back in high school. Now, this trilogy began with Shadowdale, followed by Tantris, which I've read and reviewed on this channel, but the book I am going to review today is Waterdeep, book 3 in the trilogy. Beautiful Clyde Caldwell cover art there showing Kelemvor, Lionsbane, and Midnight. Absolutely beautiful cover on this book. Now, as an ending to the trilogy, it was satisfying. However, I found it a little bit clunky. And the reason I say that is because of the sheer amount of travel that these characters do. At this point, I would show you a map of exactly where they go in the realms, like I did for Shadowdale and I did for Tantris. But the fact of the matter is, it is so convoluted and confusing that when I put the map down just before I began filming this video to find the spots where they went, I simply couldn't do it. I couldn't match up the points and it was going to take too long. And so for this video, fuck it. Just know that they start over here and then they end on the Sword Coast in the City of Splendors, the city of Waterdeep. Now, what I did enjoy about this book is they have two new antagonist gods. For those of you that haven't watched the first two videos, I highly recommend you go back and get caught up on the story. But the long and the short of it is, two of the evil gods stole the tablets of fate from the god above them, Lord Ao, and so he banished all the gods to the realms so that they can take accountability for their actions. In order for the gods to get back to their home planes, the tablets of fate have to be recovered. Our heroes, Kelemvor Lionsbane the fighter, Midnight the mage, and Aiden the fallen cleric of Sune Firehair, the goddess of beauty, have actually recovered one of these tablets from the city of Tantris, which happened at the end of the second book, where two gods, Torm and Bane, actually fell in battle and died. So over the course of this trilogy, we know that Mystra, the goddess of magic, has passed away, Bane, the god of strife, has passed away, and Torm, the god of duty, has passed away. So the characters are now on the final part of their quest to recover the last tablet of fate, the second tablet of fate, which they believe is in the city of Waterdeep. And so as they journey along, their fallen comrade Cyric, and I say fallen in that he's turned to the side of evil and is now leading a band of Zentarum warriors. Cyric is on their heels, Baal, the god of murder, is on their heels, and Merkel, the god of the dead, is orchestrating the whole thing. It turns out that Bane and Merkel were the two gods that stole the tablets of fate, and they did so in order to wrest power from Lord Ao, but it all kind of backfired a little bit. So I'm going to jump straight into the spoiler-filled plot of Waterdeep, although I will be missing a few points because, as I said, it is an incredibly convoluted journey. I will try and kind of hit all the story beat points. So if you don't want to know exactly what happens, stop watching here and go and watch another one of Plaguelands Media videos. They are all freaking awesome. If you do want to know how this trilogy ends, Stick around for the next episode of
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, let's just get into it. So the book begins with Elminster, the sage, who was believed murdered at the end of Shadowdale, came back in Tantris to set everything right. He is in Waterdeep, meeting with another wizard, Kelvin Aronson, also known as Blackstaff. Blackstaff is probably the most powerful wizard in Waterdeep, next to Halaster Blackcloak, although Halaster is technically under Waterdeep because he was the mage that created Undermountain, but that's a whole different thing and has no relevance on this story whatsoever. Elminster is explaining the situation to Kelvin and letting him know that the heroes are probably on their way to Waterdeep, where they believe the second tablet has been hidden. We know that Merkel is in Waterdeep as well. He has kind of like an underground sewer lair. And as the story that was the prologue, and as it goes into chapter 1, we find that the heroes, Kelemvor, Aiden, and Midnight, have left Tantris on a ship, hoping to sail all the way to this certain port, but they are being pursued by Siric's men. So the captain freaks out and just drops them off, not necessarily in the middle of nowhere, but in a port that's a lot further from where they kind of want to be. So they have to start traveling overland. At the same time, Merkel has found this battlefield where all of these soldiers have been killed, and yet they still have retained their sentience because, as Merkel is no longer in the City of Bone on his home plane of Hades, the spirits can't rightfully go to the Fuse plane and then be picked up by the gods that they worshipped, or go to the City of Bone to be slaves to the god of the dead. However, from Waterdeep, Merkel can still kind of command them to rise as these zombie cavalrymen and sends them off in pursuit of the heroes. The heroes camp for the night. They've been trekking for weeks. It just goes on and on and on. And they get attacked by these zombie cavalrymen, and they kind of get split up on the battlefield. Midnight tries to help Aiden and Kelemvor by casting a spell, but it goes wrong and creates this wall of fire that blocks them off. At the same time, someone has been stalking them from the tree line and fires an arrow that actually takes out one of the riders that is about to kill Kelemvor. We find out later that this archer is Sirik. He needs them alive because he wants the Tablet of Fate. He believes that if he can get both tablets and take them to Lord Ao will give him power. That's all Sirik craves at this point, is power. We've seen his journey from Shadowdale through Tantris into this book, where he realizes that the only person he can rely on is himself, and as such, he's going to do everything in his power just to help himself. So they're saved from these zombie cavalrymen, and they make it to this keep, where the Lord of the Keep has, or the head of the garrison, I should say, has been informed by Elminster to let them inside and to give them kind of everything that they need for their journey to Waterdeep. While they are there, they feast and drink and do all that kind of stuff. And Sirik manages to infiltrate the keep and confronts Midnight. And I believe that happens there. Anyway, they are attacked at the keep by none other than Baal, the god of murder. Baal manages to kidnap Midnight and spirit her away. In doing so, he basically slaughters everyone. He is the god of murder, of course. And so Midnight is in his charge now, so he effectively has one of the tablets of fate at this point, I believe, and he's going after the other. The heroes pursue. Cyric actually joins with them at this point because he's like, we're all on the same team here, we've got to get it back, blah, blah, blah. So Kelenvor, Aiden, and Cyric, once again reunited, go after Baal and Midnight. Baal is working with Merkel, and Baal lets Midnight know where the second tablet of fate is. It is not actually in Waterdeep. It is, in fact, in Merkel's City of Bone, the Bone Castle on the Plain of Hades. Now, I might add a little detail that I left out, but it's not really intrinsic to the story, but I just thought it was cool. Cyric and his men camp at these ruins outside of the town of Evening Star. Evening Star is the town where... Oh, this happens before they get to the keep. They go to Evening Star, right. Evening Star is a town where the heroes kind of hole up and get some rest and relaxation and whatnot. Now, while it plays a very tiny part in the story itself, what I thought was cool is you could actually run a pre-bought scenario in the ruins, set in the ruins of the keep that Cyric and the Zentarum hold themselves up in. And that was called the Haunted Halls of Evening Star. This was a print on demand. If you bought the actual scenario, it had like maps detached and things like that. But this was really cool. I actually had this back when I was DMing. Never ran my players through it. Kind of wish I had now because it's actually really, really cool. So, Baal tells Midnight that the other tablet is in Merkel's realm, which is an ingenious place to hide it because no one can actually get to it because no one can get onto the plains except a mortal. So Midnight is like, well, why haven't you or Merkel sent any of the priests through to collect the tablet? And Baal says, we fucking did. They all died. I'm sorry, he doesn't say they all died. He said they never came back. There is a portal into the Fused Plane. So the Fused Plane, when a person dies, their spirit goes to the Fused Plane, which is basically limbo. And then the gods come and collect their worshippers and take them back to the thing. So that's basically the lobby, the waiting room of death. Under the Castle Dragonspear, there is, in fact, a portal to that realm. And Midnight is like, what the fuck? Now, a little aside here. Castle Dragonspear, again, you could actually play scenarios in and around Castle Dragonspear. This is Hordes of Dragonspear. This is for levels 10 to 12 because it mainly focuses on Horde of Demons, but it's a really cool scenario. Again, one that I never ran my players through, but I did have back in the day. The heroes catch up to Baal and Midnight, and a fight ensues where they try to rescue her. They manage to reclaim the tablet. Cyric's sword? Yeah. Wait a second, did they meet some halflings first? Yeah, I believe they do meet some halflings. That Cyric's... Okay, I missed a whole fucking part where they meet up with this ruined halfling village, and Cyric has slaughtered the village with his men, and one of them survives with the women and children and decides to help them. His name is Sneakabout. Sneakabout is with them as well. I'm sorry, I completely glossed over Sneakabout because he ends up getting killed. So there you go. They've got another companion, this halfling called Sneakabout, who is after his sword. He's got to retrieve his sword. Did that happen in the last book? I don't know. If I'm getting my books mixed up, I apologize. It's been such a long time. Anyway, Cyric has this sword that drinks blood, but it can also slay gods as well. So they catch up, and this fight ensues, and they manage to, Aiden, Midnight, and Kellanvor manage to get away just as Cyric stabs Baal with the sword that drinks his blood, causing a massive explosion, and they believe that Cyric is dead, and so they head on to Castle Dragonspear. At this time, Merkel has sent an army of zombies after them. The zombies are after the tablet, so they've been ordered to go for anyone that is holding the saddlebags with the tablet in it. They get to Castle Dragonspear, and the zombies start attacking them. They see a merchant caravan that the zombies are pursuing, so they try to get it into the keep, and once they get it into the keep, they realise that the merchant caravan have all been zombified, and this giant brawl ensues, and Kellanvor and Midnight and Aiden kind of get split up, and Midnight runs to the top of this tower to kind of watch what's going on, and she manages to throw a rope down for Kellanvor. Aiden has the saddlebags, so the zombies are attacking him. He throws the saddlebags to Kellanvor, and suddenly the zombies leave him alone, and they go after Kellanvor. So Kellanvor gets to the top of the tower, and then Aiden comes, and Aiden gets to the top of the tower, and now they're in Castle Dragonspear, and they're stuck. But they know that there is a portal underneath it, so they kind of go down into the basement, and the zombies pursue up the stairs because that's the last place they saw the saddlebags, and then they can kind of come down, and they find a trapdoor, and they're about to go down this trapdoor that leads to like a well with an underground river, and suddenly an arrow goes through the window of this keep and takes Aiden out, and Aiden falls into the river, into the river, and he's washed away. Kellanvor is fighting off zombies while Midnight climbs down, and she drops into the water, and Kellanvor manages to drop into the water thinking the zombies aren't going to pursue, and they get washed down this underground river. Now, Midnight doesn't have her spell books. However, whenever she needs a spell, it automatically comes to mind because she has the power of Mistra kind of inside of her. She doesn't use it very often. Magic is unstable. So they go down this underground river, and then there's this whirlpool, and Midnight gets sucked into the whirlpool, and Kellanvor manages to get past it. And so now the party is completely split up. No one knows where Cyric is. No one knows where Aiden is. No one knows where Midnight is. No one knows where Kellanvor is. They're all kind of separated. And the one rule you never do in a D&D game, never split the party. In any role-playing game, never split the party. Always a bad idea. Aiden at this point, he's dead. He got the arrow in the chest and then fell. Kellanvor wakes up on this rocky shore and has no idea where he is, but tries to make his way back to Waterdeep, which he manages to do with the help of a patrol of soldiers and things like that. Midnight, on the other hand, has fallen into this whirlpool, which is in fact the portal to the Fuse Plane, where she meets one of the soldiers from the keep that was killed by Baal, or was it a soldier from Shadowdale? I forget. Anyway, she meets someone she knows, explains the situation, and that guy basically says, I will lead you to a portal that will lead to the City of Bone, which he does. So she gets there. She sees that the City of Bone is filled with Merkel's denizens. These are twisted, disgusting, undead creatures. She manages to get the Tablet of Fate. So I believe now she has both of them in the saddlebags, and starts to flee to a portal using a levitate spell, because the portals are all like up in the sky. They appear like stars, but they're actually portals. And she finds the portal that will lead directly to Waterdeep, but the denizens are chasing her. So she gets to the portal, she gets in there, and she's almost there. The denizens are hot on her heels. She doesn't know what to do. If she leaves the portal open, they're going to spill into Waterdeep. So she casts a prismatic sphere and sits in it, waiting to work out what to do as the denizens are bashing on this prismatic sphere. It's like almost like a wall of force, but it dispels magic and shit. It's really cool. Kellenvor makes it to Waterdeep. The guards have been waiting for him. He is taken to Kelvin. Kelvin fills him in on everything, and Elminster arrives, and we discover that something's going on at the portal to the City of Bone that is found under the Yawning Portal. Now, the Yawning Portal is a popular tavern in Waterdeep because in the basement there is a well, and that well leads to the first level of Undermountain. Now, those of you that know what Undermountain is know that Undermountain is a giant multi-level dungeon crawling extravaganza. It was in 2nd edition. I have the 5th edition Undermountain, which is 16 levels of sheer freaking awesomeness. So they all hurry there, and they see the prismatic sphere, and they manage to free Midnight, who now has both of the tablets, and they need to get to the Celestial Stairway on Mount Waterdeep. Merkel realizes what has happened. He goes down there and he breaks the prismatic sphere while they've kind of gone away, and all the denizens kind of come out and start attacking Waterdeep. At this point, they're trying to come up with a plan, and Elminster reveals that Aiden is in fact alive and well, and they reunite with him, although Kellenvor's pissed off that nobody told him when he first came. While this is happening, they're on the top of Blackstaff Tower, watching as these denizens kind of decimate. They're coming closer and closer to the tower, and they're attacking everything, and the guards of Waterdeep are trying to push them back, and it's not working. So Elminster says, I've got to go there, and I've got to shut down the gateway, and you have to get the tablets to the Celestial Staircase. At this point, oh boy, Cyric sneaks up onto the top of the tower, hears what is being said, and takes the opportunity to stab Kellenvor in the back, killing him. Midnight, seeing this, goes to fight Cyric. Cyric stabs her as well, but she doesn't die. Cyric takes the tablets and he heads to Mount Waterdeep. He is going to get to the Celestial Stairway. He is going to petition Ao to grant him power, and it's going to be game over for the realms. Kelvin comes back, sees what's happening, says, you've got to get there first, gives a healing potion to Midnight, and calls down some Griffin Riders who take them to the Celestial Staircase on Mount Waterdeep. They can do it much faster in the sky than they can on foot, but Cyric has had a huge head start. They get to the Celestial Staircase. Cyric is there, Midnight is there, and Aiden is there. And Lord Helm, Cyric kind of petitions him with the tablets, and Ao comes down And Cyric is like, I have the tablets, you know what I want. And Ao is like, it's not what you really want, trust me, you really don't want this. But he does, and so Lord Ao now makes him the god of strife. He has the portfolios of Bane and of Baal, and he is now the god of lies and deceit. Ao also recognizes Midnight's importance, and he offers her the goddess of magic. And she says no. And he's like, well, if you don't take it, everything's fucked. And she says yes. So she becomes the goddess of magic, which Aiden becomes her first priest as well. So he no longer worships Sune Firehair. He now is a priest of Mystra. The realms are restored. Elminster manages to close the portal. The Denzins all die or get taken back to their realm. And the gods are all taken back to their home planes. However, there is a new rule. Their power is predicated on the amount of worshippers they have. So Ao decrees, you have to work for the people. The people don't work for you anymore. So that is how second edition kind of clerical magic kind of got changed a little bit from first edition. So the less followers a god or goddess has, the less powerful that god or goddess is. At the end of the novel, we find Ao talking to a god above him. And the god was like, did they pass this test? And Ao says, barely. And it was only by the help of mortals that they did. And that is how second edition Dungeons & Dragons comes about. As a trilogy, Shadowdale, Tantris, Waterdeep. As a trilogy, heap of fun, absolutely fantastic, and completely old school Dungeons & Dragons. These are the sorts of books I wish they would bring back, where they gave authors the opportunity to play in the playground of the D&D realms. But they simply just don't do that anymore, and I don't really understand why. So there you have it. That was the Avatar Trilogy. However, the story is not over. There are 2 other books in this series. Prince of Lies, where the new god Cyric tries to rewrite his history by having a scribe write a book, I believe it's called the Crinshanabon. And then the Trial of Cyric the Mad. So this actually became, from a trilogy, it now became a pentat. I will be reading and reviewing both of those books in the future at some point. Hope you enjoyed this book review. I hope you enjoyed the series, the story. I'm sorry if I got some details wrong and got some things mixed up, but it happens. We're going to leave it there for now. So cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Have a fantastic rest of your day. But most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, read a fucking book, people.